a complete Stoic guide to ultimate self-control. Imagine you're stranded in a foreign city. You have no money, no friends, and no way to communicate in the local language. The streets are unfamiliar, the sounds overwhelming, and the sense of isolation is crushing. Panic, fear, and helplessness surge through you as every moment amplifies your distress. The situation seems impossible to navigate, leaving you feeling lost and desperate. Now, imagine there's a philosophy that can transform this dire scenario, not by changing the external situation, but by changing you, offering a path to empowerment and peace. Welcome to Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that equips you with the tools to thrive, even in the most challenging circumstances. In this guide, we will explore how Stoicism can help you find serenity amidst chaos, turn obstacles into opportunities, cultivate a resilient mindset capable of withstanding life's toughest tests. Stoicism isn't just a set of abstract ideas. It's a practical way of life. By adopting its principles, you can learn to stay calm and composed in the face of adversity. Find joy and meaning in every experience, no matter how difficult. Transform challenges into valuable lessons for personal growth. This guide is your gateway to a more fulfilling, peaceful, and empowered life. Let's begin. Part 1. The Foundation: What You Can and Cannot Control. The cornerstone of Stoicism lies in a simple yet profound distinction. Some things are within our control and some are not. Within our control are our conceptions, choices, desires, aversions, essentially our own thoughts and actions. These are naturally free, unhindered, and cannot be taken from us. Outside our control are things like our bodies, our possessions like land or property, our reputation or image, our jobs, and the actions of others. These things are inherently weak, subject to external forces, can be easily harmed or taken away, and are ultimately not truly ours. Understanding this distinction is crucial. If you mistakenly believe you can control what is uncontrollable or that external things inherently belong to you, you set yourself up for frustration, anger, and blame towards both people and fate. You will feel harmed, upset, and constantly at the mercy of circumstances. However, if you clearly distinguish what is truly yours from what is not, and focus your energy only on what you can control, your thoughts and actions, then no one can ever force you to act against your will. No one can hinder your inner peace. You will not blame or find fault with anyone or anything external. You will be invulnerable to true harm, as true harm can only reach your character through your own choices. You will have no enemies in the truest sense, for your goals are internal and self-directed. Achieving this state requires significant effort. You will need to relinquish certain desires and postpone others. If you seek both these internal goods and external validation like power or wealth, you may attain neither. You might secure the wealth but miss out on the inner freedom and happiness that come from focusing on your own agency. So, the first practical step is this. When faced with any challenging external impression, tell yourself, you are merely an appearance and not at all the reality you present. Then, examine it using this fundamental rule. Is this impression related to things within my control or things outside of it? If it concerns something outside your control, be ready to say, this is nothing to me. Part 2. Managing Desire and Aversion. Remember that the promise of desire is to obtain what you want, and the aim of aversion is to avoid what you dislike. Failing to get what you desire leads to misfortune. Encountering what you wish to avoid also brings misfortune. If you limit your aversion only to things that are contrary to your true nature within your control, like acting unvirtuously, you will never encounter what you truly seek to avoid. However, if you try to avoid things outside your control, like sickness, death, or poverty, you are bound to experience misfortune, as these are inevitable parts of life. Therefore, shift your aversion away from things not in our power, like death or illness, and direct it towards choices and actions within our power that are contrary to reason and virtue. For now, it's wise to largely suspend desire. If you desire something outside your control, disappointment is almost certain. Even many things within our control, like cultivating specific virtues, are not yet fully attainable if you're just beginning. So, for the time being, focus primarily on exercising appropriate choice to act virtuously and resistance to unvirtuous impulses, and do so gently, with reservation and without undue intensity. Part 3. Practical Stoic Exercises and Mindsets. Let's explore some practical applications of Stoic thought. Contemplate the nature of things. When you appreciate something, even something simple like a ceramic jug, remind yourself of its nature. I like this jug, which is a breakable object. Then, if it breaks, you won't be unduly disturbed. Similarly, when you kiss your child or spouse, remind yourself, I am kissing a mortal human being. That way, if they pass away, your grief will not be compounded by shock or a sense of cosmic injustice. Prepare for action, premeditatio malorum. Before undertaking any action, understand its nature. If you're going to a public bath, mentally prepare for the inconveniences, people splashing you, bumping into you, being rude, or even theft. Tell yourself, I intend to bathe and to maintain my moral purpose in harmony with nature. If an obstacle arises preventing your bath, you can say, well, bathing wasn't my sole aim. I also aim to keep my character in accord with nature, and I cannot do that if I become irritated by this. It's not events, but judgments. It is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about those events. Death, for instance, is not inherently terrible. Socrates faced it calmly. The belief that death is terrible is what is terrible. So, when we are hindered, upset, or grieving, let us never blame others, but only ourselves, meaning our own judgments. An untrained person blames others for their misfortunes. Someone beginning their training blames themselves. Someone fully trained blames neither others nor themselves, understanding that true harm comes only from their own responses. On true value. Do not be elated by any excellence that is not your own. If a horse could boast, I am beautiful, that would be understandable. But when you say with pride, I have a beautiful horse, realize that your pride stems from the horse's quality. What, then, is truly yours? The way you use external impressions. When you use them in accordance with nature, then you can be proud, for you will be proud of a good that is genuinely your own. The voyage of life. Think of life as a sea voyage. Your ship docks and you go ashore for water. You might pick up a pretty shell or a tasty root along the way. However, you must always keep your attention on the ship and listen for the captain's call. When he calls, you must drop everything and return immediately, lest you be tied up and thrown aboard like cargo. In life, instead of a shell or root, you might be given a spouse or child. There's no harm in this. But if the captain, fate, necessity, calls, you must leave them all and run to the ship without looking back. If you are old, don't stray far from the ship, or you may not be there when called. Desire events as they are. Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do happen, and your life will flow smoothly. Perspective on setbacks. Illness is an impediment to the body, but not to your moral purpose unless your moral purpose itself gives way. Lameness is an impediment to the leg, but not to your moral purpose. Remind yourself of this with every misfortune you encounter. You will find it is an impediment to something else, but not truly to you. The banquet of life. In life, behave as you would at a banquet. If a dish is passed to you, reach out your hand and take a moderate portion. If it passes you by, do not stop it. If it has not yet reached you, do not extend your desire towards it, but wait until it comes to you. Apply this same attitude towards your children, your spouse, your career, and your wealth. One day, you may be worthy to share a banquet with the gods. If you can even disdain these things when they are offered, you will not only share their banquet but also their governance. It was by acting this way that Diogenes and Heraclitus and others like them were rightly called divine. Part 4. Social Interactions and Stoic Character. How does a Stoic navigate the social world? Empathy versus inner disturbance. When you see someone weeping in grief, perhaps because their child is away or they've lost possessions, be careful not to be carried away by the impression that they are suffering because of these external events. Keep this thought ready. It's not what happened that distresses this person, for it doesn't distress another, but the judgment they've made about it. Do not hesitate to offer sympathy in words and even to share a groan if the occasion calls for it. But be careful not to groan internally. Do not let your own inner peace be disturbed. Your role in life's play. Remember, you are an actor in a play, and the playwright, Providence or nature, chooses the character you play. If he wants it to be short, it is short. If long, it is long. If he assigns you the role of a beggar, play that beggar's part convincingly. If a disabled person, an official, or a private citizen, whatever your role, your job is to perform it well. The casting of the role belongs to another. Interpreting omens. If a raven croaks inauspiciously, don't let the external impression carry you away. Immediately make a distinction in your mind. None of these omens are for me. They might be for my trivial body, my meager property, my fleeting reputation, my children, or my wife. But for me, all signs are auspicious if I wish them to be. For whatever happens, it is in my power to benefit from it. True victory. You can be invincible if you never enter a contest where victory is not within your control. Avoiding envy. When you see someone honored above you or possessing great power or otherwise highly esteemed, be careful not to be swept away by the appearance and deem them happy. If the essence of true good lies in what is within our control, then there is no room for envy or jealousy. You yourself will not wish to be a general, a senator, or a consul, but to be free. And there is only one path to this, disdaining things not within our control. Understanding insults. Remember that it is not the person who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your own judgment that these things are insulting. So, when someone provokes you, be aware that it is your own opinion that has provoked you. Your first goal should be not to be carried away by the impression. If you can gain time and delay your reaction, you will more easily gain control of yourself. Part 5. The Philosopher's Path. Embarking on the path of philosophy requires certain commitments. Confronting mortality, memento mori. Keep death, exile, and all other things that appear terrible daily before your eyes, but especially death. This way, you will never entertain any abject thought, nor will you too eagerly covet anything. Facing ridicule. If you decide to pursue philosophy, prepare to be laughed at. People will say, suddenly he's become a philosopher. Where did he get that condescending air? Do not adopt a condescending air, but hold fast to what you believe is best as one placed in this position by a higher power. Remember, if you persevere, those who initially ridiculed you will eventually admire you. But if you are overcome by their opinions, you will earn double the ridicule. Finding your way. If you ever turn your attention outward to please someone else, know that you have lost your way. Be content, therefore, in all things, to be a philosopher. And if you wish to be seen as one, then first demonstrate to yourself that you are one, and you will succeed. Redefining honor. Don't let thoughts like these trouble you. I shall live without honor and be a nobody everywhere. If lack of honor is an evil, you cannot be in a state of evil through another person any more than you can be in a state of shame. Is it your business to gain office or be invited to a dinner party? Certainly not. How then is this a lack of honor? And how will you be a nobody when you ought to be a somebody only in those things which are in your control, where you can be of the highest value? But my friends will be without assistance. What do you mean without assistance? They won't receive small change from you, nor will you make them Roman citizens. Who told you then that these are among the things in our control and not the actions of others? And who can give to another what they do not themselves possess? Then get money, a friend might say, so we can have some too. If I can get money while preserving my self-respect, integrity, and magnanimity, show me the way and I will get it. But if you require me to lose my own true goods so that you may acquire things that are not good, see for yourselves how unfair and inconsiderate you are. Which would you rather have? Money or a friend who is faithful and self-respecting? So help me towards this latter state and do not require me to do things that will make me lose these qualities. The price of external goods. Has someone been honored more than you at a banquet, in a greeting, or in being called into council? If these things are good, you should be glad that they obtained them. If they are bad, do not be grieved that you did not. Remember, you cannot expect an equal share of external things if you do not pay the same price as others, like flattery or attendance, to obtain them. How can one who doesn't frequent a great man's door have an equal share with one who does? One who doesn't praise with one who does. You will be unjust and insatiable if you are unwilling to pay the price for which these externals are sold, and yet wish to obtain them for free. How much does a head of lettuce cost? Perhaps a small coin, an obol. If someone pays their obol and gets lettuce, and you do not pay and do not get it, do not think you are worse off. They have the lettuce, but you still have your obol, which you did not give away. It is the same in life. You weren't invited to someone's party? That's because you didn't pay the host the price for which he sells his dinner. Praise, attention. Give him the price if it's for your advantage. But if you want to not pay the price and still receive the goods, you are greedy and foolish. Do you have nothing, then, in place of the dinner? Yes, you have not having to praise someone you didn't want to praise, and not having to endure the insolence of his doorkeepers. Part 6. Advanced Stoic Practices and Character Traits. As you progress, certain attitudes and behaviors will become more natural. The mark of true evil. Just as a target is not set up to be missed, so evil in the true sense, vice, irrationality, does not naturally arise in the world. Guarding your mind. You would be angry if someone were to mishandle your physical body. Do you not feel shame, then, that you entrust your mind to any chance comer, so that if they revile you, your mind becomes troubled and confused? Consider the consequences, the Olympic aspirin. Before undertaking any action, consider what precedes it and what follows. Only then begin. Otherwise, you might start with enthusiasm, having not considered the subsequent difficulties, and then desist shamefully. Do you wish to win at the Olympic Games? By the gods, so do I, for it is a fine thing. But first, consider what comes before and after. You must submit to discipline, a strict diet, abstain from sweets, train rigorously at set hours in heat and cold. You must not drink cold water or wine whenever you please. You must give yourself over to your trainer completely, as to a doctor. Then, in the contest itself, you may have to dig in, dislocate your wrist, sprain your ankle, swallow much sand, perhaps be whipped, and after all that, you might still lose. Consider all this. If after reflection you still wish it, then proceed. If not, you will turn back like a child who plays at being a wrestler one moment, a gladiator the next, then blows a trumpet, then acts in a play. You are now an athlete, now a warrior, now a rhetorician, now a philosopher, yet with your whole soul you are nothing. Like an ape, you imitate whatever you see, and one thing after another captures your fancy because you have never pursued anything with deliberation or after thorough examination, but always rashly and half-heartedly. In the same way, some people, having seen a philosopher speak like Euphrates, though who can truly speak like him, wish to be philosophers themselves. Man, first consider the nature of the undertaking. Then examine your own nature, whether you have the strength to bear it. Do you want to be a pentathlete or a wrestler? Look at your arms, your thighs, your loins. Different people are made for different things. Do you think you could act as you do now and still be a philosopher? That you can eat and drink as you do, give way to anger and frustration? You must keep vigils, endure toil, leave your own people, be despised by a slave, be laughed at by those you meet, and get the worst of it in everything, in honor, office, law courts, in every paltry affair. Examine these things. Are you willing to pay this price for tranquility, freedom, and calm? If so, proceed. If not, do not be like a child, now a philosopher, then a tax collector, then an orator, then an imperial official. These things do not harmonize. You must be one person, either good or bad. You must cultivate either your own ruling faculty, your inner reason, or external things. You must work hard on what is within or on what is without. That is, you must choose the role of a philosopher or that of a non-philosopher, a layperson. Fulfilling your duties. Our duties are generally measured by our social relationships. He is your father. This implies you must take care of him, yield to him in all things, and bear with him if he reproaches or strikes you. But he is a bad father. Did nature, then, connect you with a good father? No, simply with a father. My brother wrongs me. Then maintain your relationship with him. Do not consider what he does, but what you must do to keep your moral purpose in harmony with nature. No one will harm you unless you allow it. You will be harmed only when you think you are harmed. In this way, you will discover the duties appropriate to a neighbor, a citizen, a military commander, if you make it a habit to examine your social relationships. True piety. The most important aspect of piety towards the gods is to hold correct beliefs about them, that they exist, and that they govern the universe well and justly. And you must resolve to obey them, to acquiesce in all that happens, and to follow it willingly as arranged by the highest intelligence. If you do this, you will never blame the gods nor accuse them of neglecting you. But this is impossible unless you detach your ideas of good and evil from things not in our control and apply them only to things within our control. If you believe any external thing to be good or bad, then when you fail to get what you want or fall into what you wish to avoid, you will inevitably blame and hate those you believe to be the cause. Every living creature is naturally inclined to flee and turn away from things that appear harmful and their causes, and to pursue and admire things that appear beneficial and their causes. Therefore, a person who believes they are being harmed cannot possibly rejoice in what they think is harming them any more than they can rejoice in the harm itself. This is why even a father is reviled by his son if he doesn't share with him things that seem good. It was the belief that royal power was good that made Polynices and Eteocles enemies. For this reason, the farmer, the sailor, the merchant, and those who lose their wives and children may revile the gods. For where one's interest lies, there also lies one's piety. Thus, whoever takes care to direct their desires and aversions as they ought, by that very fact, takes care of their piety. Nevertheless, it is always proper to offer libations, sacrifices, and first fruits according to the customs of our ancestors, with purity, and not slovenly, nor carelessly, nor meagerly, nor beyond our means. Consulting divination wisely. When you consult a diviner, remember that you do not know what the outcome will be. You go to learn it from them. But if you are a philosopher, you already know its nature when you arrive. If it is one of the things outside our control, then what will happen can be neither good nor bad in itself. Therefore, do not approach the diviner with desire or fear. Once you have decided that whatever the outcome, it is indifferent to you, you can use it well, and no one can hinder this. Approach with a confident mind. When you receive advice, remember whom you have taken as advisors, and whom you will be disobeying if you disregard it. Use divination as Socrates thought proper. Only when the whole question concerns the outcome, and no resources from reason or other arts are available to discover the matter. Thus, when it is your duty to share the danger of a friend or your country, do not ask the seer if you should share it. If the seer tells you the sacrificial signs are bad, this clearly signifies death, mutilation, or exile. But reason dictates that even with this risk, you must stand by your friend and country. Therefore, heed the greater diviner, the Pythian Apollo, who cast out of his temple the man who did not help his friend whose life was being forfeit. Part 7. Daily Conduct and Self-Mastery. A Stoic life is reflected in daily habits. Character and speech. Establish a certain character and pattern for yourself, which you are to maintain whether alone or with others. Silence. Be mostly silent or say only what is necessary, and in few words. Speak if occasion calls, but not about trivial things like gladiators, horse races, sports, food, or drink, common topics. Above all, do not speak about people either to praise, blame, or compare them. Redirect conversation. If you can, draw the conversation of your companions towards what is fitting. If you find yourself among strangers, remain silent. Laughter. Do not laugh much, nor at many things, nor boisterously. Oaths. Refuse to take an oath at all, if possible. If not, refuse as much as circumstances allow. External engagements. Entertainments. Avoid public entertainments given by outsiders or those ignorant of philosophy. If an occasion arises to attend, be vigilant that you do not slip into their ways. For if a companion is sullied, the one who associates with them, even if clean, will also become dirted. Bodily needs take what pertains to the body only as far as bare need: food, drink, clothing, shelter, and household staff. Cut down everything that is for show or luxury. Sexuality. Before marriage, preserve your purity as much as possible. If you do partake, do so only in what is lawful. However, do not be censorious or critical of those who do indulge, nor boast frequently that you do not. Responding to slander. If someone tells you that so-and-so is speaking ill of you, do not make excuses about what was said. Instead, reply, "Yes, and he was ignorant of my other faults, otherwise he would not have mentioned only these." Public shows and readings. Shows. It is not usually necessary to attend public shows. If occasion arises, show that your chief concern is for yourself alone, meaning, wish only for that to happen which does happen, and for that person to win who does win. Thus you will not be disturbed. Readings. Do not readily or easily attend others' public readings. But if you do, maintain your own dignity and composure, and be careful not to become disagreeable. Meeting others, especially the powerful. When about to meet someone, especially one of high station, ask yourself, what would Socrates or Zeno have done in this situation? You will then not be at a loss to make proper use of the occasion. When going to see a powerful person, tell yourself, he won't be at home, or the door will be slammed in my face, or he won't pay any attention to me. If, despite this, it is your duty to go, then go and accept what happens. Never say to yourself, it wasn't worth the trouble. That is the mark of an outsider, one who is bewildered by external things. Conversation. In conversation, avoid excessive or lengthy talk about your own actions or dangers. It is not as pleasant for others to hear about your adventures as it is for you to recall them. Avoid trying to raise a laugh. This behavior can easily slip into vulgarity and may diminish your neighbor's respect for you. Using foul language is also dangerous. When this occurs, if the occasion is suitable, reprimand the offender. If not, show your disapproval by your silence, blush, and serious expression. Managing pleasure. When you receive an impression of any pleasure, guard yourself, as with other impressions, against being carried away by it. Let the matter wait and allow yourself some delay. Then think of two moments in time, the time when you will enjoy the pleasure and the time when, after having enjoyed it, you will repent and reproach yourself. Compare these with how glad and self-satisfied you will be if you abstain. If a fitting occasion arises to act, be careful that its charm, allure, and seduction do not overcome you. Instead, set against it how much better it is to be conscious of having gained a victory over it. Integrity in action. When you have decided that a thing ought to be done and are doing it, never try to hide it, even if most people are likely to disapprove. If your action is wrong, then avoid doing it altogether. But if it is right, why fear those who will rebuke you wrongly? Context and propriety. The phrases "it is day" and "it is night" have great meaning when considered separately, but none when combined. Similarly, taking the largest portion at a dinner may be good for the body, but it is destructive of proper social feeling. When eating with others, remember not only the value of the food for your body, but also the value of respecting your host and fellow diners. Knowing your role and limits. If you take on a role beyond your capacity, you not only disgrace yourself in that role, but also neglect the role you could have performed well. Just as you are careful not to step on a nail or sprain your ankle when walking, be similarly careful not to harm your ruling principle, your reason. If we observe this in every action, we shall undertake our tasks more safely. The body is the measure for its possessions, just as the foot is for the shoe. If you abide by this principle, you will keep the measure. But if you go beyond it, you must inevitably be carried over a cliff, as it were. Just as with the shoe, if you go beyond what fits the foot, you get a gilded shoe, then a purple one, then an embroidered one. For once you go beyond the measure, there is no limit. On true adornment for women, adapted for broader application. Women from the age of 14 are called ladies by men. So, when they see that they have nothing else but to be with men, they begin to beautify themselves and place all their hopes in this. It is worthwhile, therefore, to make them understand that they are honored for nothing else but appearing modest and self-respecting. Modern Stoic interpretation. True worth for anyone comes from inner character, modesty, self-respect, virtue, not solely from external appearance or the attention it garners. Focus on the mind. It is a sign of a lack of natural aptitude to spend much time on things concerning the body, such as exercising excessively, eating and drinking much, or spending a long time on other bodily functions. These things should be done incidentally. Your whole attention should be given to the mind. Part 8. Responding to others and maintaining inner harmony. Interacting with others provides constant tests for our Stoic principles. Responding to ill treatment. If someone speaks ill of you or treats you badly, remember they do so or say so because they think it is their duty or that it is right. It is not possible for them to follow what appears right to you, but only what appears right to them. So, if they judge from a false appearance, the one who is harmed is the one who has been deceived. For if someone thinks a true conjunctive proposition is false, the proposition is not harmed, but the person who is deceived about it. Starting from this principle, you will be gentle with one who reviles you. Say on each occasion, "It seemed so to him." The two handles. Everything has two handles, one by which it can be carried and one by which it cannot. If your brother wrongs you, do not take hold of it by the handle of his wrongdoing, for this is the handle by which it cannot be carried. Instead, take hold of it by the other handle, that he is your brother, that you were raised together, and you will be grasping it by the handle by which it can be carried. False conclusions of superiority. These reasonings are illogical. I am richer than you, therefore I am superior to you, or I am more eloquent than you, therefore I am superior to you. The better conclusions are, I am richer than you, therefore my property is superior to yours, or I am more eloquent than you, therefore my speech is superior to yours. But you are neither property nor speech. Objective description versus judgment. Does someone bathe quickly? Do not say they bathe badly, but that they bathe quickly. Does someone drink a lot of wine? Do not say they drink badly, but that they drink a lot. For unless you perfectly understand the principle from which they act, how do you know if they are acting badly? Thus, you will not risk assenting to any impressions other than those you fully comprehend. Living philosophy, not preaching it. Never call yourself a philosopher, nor talk much among non-philosophers about your principles. Instead, act in accordance with your principles. For example, at a banquet, do not say how one ought to eat, but eat as you ought. Remember how Socrates so completely got rid of ostentation that people would come to him wanting to be introduced to philosophers, and he would take them, so well did he bear being overlooked. If a discussion about a philosophical principle arises among non-philosophers, remain silent for the most part. For there is great danger in immediately spewing out what you have not digested. And if someone tells you that you know nothing and you are not bothered by it, then you can be sure you are making progress. Sheep do not show shepherds how much they have eaten by bringing fodder. Instead, they digest their pasture internally and produce wool and milk externally. So too, do not display your principles to non-philosophers, but show them the actions that result from these principles when digested. Simplicity without ostentation. When you have adapted to simple living in regard to your body's needs, do not be boastful about it. If you drink water, do not say on every occasion, "I drink water." If you want to train for hardship, do it for yourself and not for others. Do not embrace statues, but if you are ever very thirsty, take a little cold water into your mouth and spit it out and tell no one. Part 9. The Marks of a Stoic and the Ultimate Goal. What are the signs of a person making progress in Stoicism? A layperson, non-philosopher, looks for help or harm from external sources. A philosopher looks for all help and harm from within themselves. Signs of a proficient one making progress include: they criticize no one, praise no one, blame no one, and find fault with no one. They never speak of themselves as if they were somebody or knew something. When hindered or frustrated in something, they blame themselves. If someone praises them, they smile inwardly at the praiser. If someone censures them, they make no defense. They go about like an invalid, cautious not to disturb any part that is healing before it has grown firm. They have removed all desire from themselves. They have transferred their aversion only to those things within our control that are contrary to nature. Their impulses towards anything are moderate. If they seem foolish or ignorant, they do not care. In a word, they watch out for themselves as an enemy and one lying in ambush. When someone boasts that they can understand and explain the works of Chrysippus, a complex Stoic philosopher, tell yourself, if Chrysippus had not written obscurely, this person would have nothing to boast about. But what do I want? To understand nature and follow her. Therefore I seek an interpreter. Hearing that Chrysippus is one, I go to him, but I don't understand his writings. So I seek someone to explain them. Up to this point, there is nothing to be proud of. But when I find the interpreter, what remains is to put the precepts into practice. This alone is the honorable thing. If I merely admire the interpretation and the interpreter, what else have I become but a grammarian instead of a philosopher? The only difference is that I am interpreting Chrysippus instead of Homer. Therefore, when anyone asks me to read Chrysippus to them, I would rather blush when I cannot show actions that are harmonious and consonant with his words. The Stoic path is a lifelong journey of self-mastery, resilience, and inner peace. It's about focusing on what truly matters, our character and our choices, and living in accordance with nature and reason. By practicing these principles, you too can cultivate ultimate self-control and lead a more empowered and tranquil life.